All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MCJ Report number 165. Very glad that you all are here joining me tonight. So why don't you go ahead and give the broadcast a share, ladies and gentlemen, independent media, doing what we do, that's right. We are live across 3 platforms right now, that's right, Facebook, Rumble, and YouTube. I can see a lot of familiar names in the chat, so it's really great that you're here. We're back doing our thing and doing what we do in the independent media, that's right. You'll get the stories that you would otherwise not hear if all you did was watch Channel 7, the ABC, and by the way, who here is completely sick of the mainstream media? In fact, I can't remember the last time I actually turned it on. So anyways, guys, well, this is MCJ Report. So if you're here for the first time, I'm your host, Morgan C. Jonas. Welcome to the show. So what is on the agenda for tonight's episode? 2 things. Number 1, and I don't know whether to laugh at this or not, and I'm not really sure if this is comedy, but the AEC has actually accused the public of spreading disinformation in relation to the evidence that we produced demonstrating disinformation espoused by AEC staff to members of the public when they called up seeking information in relation to how to vote for grouped Senate candidates above the line on the Senate ballot paper. All right. Did that all sink in, ladies and gentlemen? That's right. So the public are the ones that exposed the disinformation of the AEC, and the AEC has turned around and said that, no, public, you're the ones espousing disinformation. We never said those things over the phone. What are you talking about? Honestly, folks, you can't make this up. So I'm going to show you that on the show. I'm going to also show you some new evidence of disinformation that has emerged from the weekend of voting within actual polling booths. And this just gets more and more weird by the second. So we're going to talk about that. Also on tonight's show, I have a compilation from Rebel News, which I'm sure that everyone will appreciate. So Avi and the team from Rebel News have been in the belly of the beast, Davos, Switzerland, that's right, seeking to report on the World Economic Forum, and Avi's doing a great job over there, really exposing a lot of these powerful people, or I should say exposing their lack of willingness to actually engage in dialogue and to have any type of conversation or answer any type of meaningful questions. So Avi's over there at the moment with Rukshana. I think they're on their way back right now. So I've put a compilation together. I'm sure you're going to enjoy that. That's the second part of the episode. So folks, if you just tuned in, go ahead and give the broadcast a share, because this is MCJ Report and we're getting started right now. Alrighty, so anyway. Alright, so folks, Telegram, if you're not following me on Telegram, make sure that you do. My handle is the same as my handle on all other platforms. That is at Morgan C. Jonas. I love Telegram. It's a fantastic platform for free speech and getting the word out there. So if you don't have Telegram, then where have you been? Go and get Telegram and go ahead and give us a follow, because I post everything on there as well. Also, folks, we are in full effect. That's right. Very soon to lodge our application with the VEC. That's right, the Victorian Electoral Commission, Freedom Party. We are putting together a wonderful team of courageous and uncompromising men and women to go after it in this year's state election here in Victoria. So we're going to require a big group effort, guys. So we had one election, that's done, that's in the books now. We are not taking our foot off the accelerator, because we've got a lot of work to do. And this November, folks, this is going to be absolutely critical to the future of our state. And I say that if we can win back Victoria, then we can win back the rest of the country. Who here agrees with that statement? If you do, say aye. Alrighty, now let's get it started, ladies and gentlemen. Now I'm really going to have to try and keep a straight face for this, because we are just living in absolute clown world. All right, so what do we have here? AEC denies spreading misinformation regarding independent Senate voting. Well, they actually refer to it as disinformation, so I'm not sure which one's stronger. Is it a dis or a miss? Anyway, so what did they say? What's going on with these people? And how could they make such a claim? All right. So this is from the AEC website, and I've taken a full screenshot of the website just in case they want to go and take it down or anything like that. Alrighty, so the AEC, of course, they've got their disinformation section on the website to dispel any false myths that the public might be making about the AEC or their process and way of doing things. So what do we have here? Disinformation. The AEC has told pre-poll voters that independent Senate candidates with a blank column over their name above the line have withdrawn from the election. They're saying false. They're saying that is disinformation, correct information. The blank column indicates that the independent candidates have chosen to be grouped together on the Senate ballot paper. But that is correct. You didn't say that to us over the phone. Many of your staff did not AEC during the pre-poll period and also the polling period. You know it. You know what these staff members said. All right, it goes on to say, a Senate candidate who is not endorsed by a political party can choose to be either grouped, yeah, we know that, above the line, or have the word independent printed next to their name. Hold on a second. Let me read that again. A Senate candidate who is not endorsed by a political party can choose to either be grouped with another candidate above the line, yeah, or have the word independent printed next to their name. That is only specifically below the line. You might want to add that in your response when addressing disinformation, AEC. That is a crucially important part. Yes, singular independents can have the word independent below their name, but they, unlike grouped independents, can only be featured below the line and to the right-hand side of the page. Two very important pieces of information. I mean, getting to the facts is pretty important, don't you think, folks, when tackling, quote, disinformation. It says, these candidates are still candidates and running as independents. Right. Then it goes on to say, this is my favorite part, there is no evidence of AEC staff telling pre-poll voters that these independent candidates have withdrawn. All right, so there's no evidence whatsoever. So, that video that I uploaded with phone conversations, the videos that Steve Dixon from Queensland uploaded, apparently that's not evidence. Well, this is most bizarre. Maybe the staff at the AEC, they're just not very good at using the internet, or they don't know how to click play on those videos on Facebook. So not only is there evidence from the, quote, pre-poll period, and it's interesting that AEC has specifically outlined pre-poll, but we also have evidence from the polling period, like the election day. Okay, so I have two clips here. The first is 5 minutes, once again showing you the evidence from the pre-polling period of AEC staff falsely instructing voters over the phone in relation to voting above the line for those blank boxes. And the second clip I'm going to show you is footage and recordings captured on the day of the election. That's right, the day of the election, which was last Saturday, inside of the polling booths, and the AEC staff still providing disinformation. Yet we're the ones issuing disinformation for calling out the disinformation. I mean, this is absolute clown world. Anyway, I'm going to play you the 5-minute clip of the telephone calls from the pre-polling period, and then I'll show you the other one. Take a look.
Be counted if I put a number in one of those squares with nothing underneath it. There's no party name or anything underneath it, even though it's above the line. It's just a blank square, and I just want to make sure that if I do...
Yeah, if there's no name in this blank square, it might not... If you put a number in there, that might not get counted, so...
So it might not get counted. So if I put a number in that square that's above the line, but there's no party name or anything underneath it, that may not get counted.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm better off just sticking with a party name or something where I know the vote's going to go to.
I have another question, because I can see that some of the boxes are blank, such as B and R.
Yes. So looks like there is no Senate member there, but most of them have a party and a party name in the boxes for each box, and I think a few are blank.
So can I vote in those boxes for B and R?
If there is no party, then I think it's best that you leave them.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
There's one that's empty, like an empty column. So, is that just somebody that's not on there anymore, or?
I'd say so. As in a blank column on the Senate.
Yeah, above that line.
Yeah, I would say maybe somebody's either withdrawn or has been removed. I'm not really sure what's happened there, but that's probably what's happened. So I mean, at least you got quite a few more options to choose from. So
I've got that clear, so I can't just do number one. I've got to do up to 6 or more than 6, and forget the empty column.
that's right. Yeah, otherwise it'd be invalid. Yeah.
The other question I've got is that in, I think it's A, H and I, there's empty boxes there. How does that work? Because there's no names or anything in them.
Just leave it blank.
So leave A, H and I blank and just fill in another 6.
Yes.
Cool.
In my one, I've got like an empty column on my panel. So if I vote, where am I, Labor, Liberal? So there's an empty column in mine, so I don't vote in that one.
Yeah, I think that's column F, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was on mine as well. So yeah, just don't put a number in that one because you'd be voting for no one.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. No. H. I've got a H.
Is it a H?
Yeah.
Sorry. You're probably right, because when I went and voted, there was one box that just had no one. I'm not sure why that is.
Yeah.
Maybe they've scratched a late minute candidate or something.
That makes sense. I thought, oh, well, if it just says H, that doesn't tell me enough. Yeah. Okay. So,
if it's got no party next to it, I would leave it blank.
Yeah, beautiful. Okay, that all makes sense. Thanks for your help.
Box A and I think H and I, they're empty. Like there's nothing next to them. They're just empty boxes. Whereas the other ones have the names of parties and things next to them.
Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, so I would just leave them, yeah.
Yep. So then...
Yeah, if there's no party or anything next to them, then I would just leave them for sure.
Okay. Right. Oh, thank you so much.
Just a question. I'm trying to fill in the big white Senate paper, but it's a bit confusing. How many boxes do I need to number?
So above the line is 136, below the line is
1 through 12.
I can see that some of the boxes are blank, such as B and R. What is that, and can I vote in those boxes?
So what do you mean they're blank?
Well, it doesn't say anything in them at all. It doesn't got a number. Or nothing, I don't know.
So they have to have something next to them.
How do you mean? I want to do this properly because I don't want my vote to be invalid, so...
Yep, so you can vote 1 through 6 on the top of the line.
Yes, I understand that, yes.
Yep, or any 12 below the line, as long as it has something and someone that you want to elect next to it, not a blank.
Well, B and R have got are blank. Why is that? Because I'm trying to work out, I don't want to put my numbers in the wrong... If I put my numbers in there, it's wrong. I'm just trying to work out why is that, so I'm getting my vote... I want my vote cast properly.
Yeah, so the blank ones, because what happens is each year, obviously we use the same papers but different, different runners. So the same amount of boxes are used each year, but if not the same amount run, they just leave boxes blank.
They just leave the same boxes blank if there's different runners from year to year? No evidence of, wait, what are we really talking about here, folks? Now, so it's pretty crazy, the statement the AEC has made. Now, the next clip I've got here has been taken by voters inside of polling booths on election day. I'm going to play that for you right now.
Okay. Either one or the other. Okay, so 1 to 6 the top one, or if you choose to go down here, 1 through the 12. Top both of them.
Alright, okay. So either above or below. What happens if you've got a blank one there or something like that? Or?
Well, obviously, just don't fill that one out. So, all through here, all the parties, like Canada's maybe, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Oh, so you just skip those ones?
Yeah, they're just irrelevant. And then if you decide you want to do that one at the top, we'll go to the centre here.
Yep.
So that's 3, 1 to 3.
I'm going to try and tackle this bit. I'll see how we go.
Yeah. So, but don't fill in both.
Yeah.
Okay, just either that one.
So can I ask, you've got no name here, B, and no name here in R. What happens with those ones above the line?
There's no one in them.
There's no one in them. So that's factually incorrect.
They mustn't be a candidate.
They are a candidate. You've got your information wrong, and that's misinformation, and that's illegal. Who's in charge here?
I don't know the information.
Excuse me, are you in charge here?
Yes.
Why is this lady telling me that this is no one here?
No, you can't.
Well, you need to educate your staff because people are losing votes because they're not being informed correctly. This is absolutely valid to write in there. All of these are all valid, and these people have the right to be voted for. And you need to tell all of your staff, no, you haven't, because I had someone come in 2 minutes ago and spoke to you, and now this lady has just told me that it's invalid to vote for B. You said it's no one.
I didn't know it wasn't.
Well, I've just been recording, so I'm telling you, you just said that it's no one. You need to stop everybody from voting until they all know that B and R and T and U and Y are all valid votes.
There'd be independents then.
Okay, so if I vote in this box, who does that vote go to? Box B?
No one. If you wanted to vote for them, they're independents, so they don't represent a party.
Oh, okay.
You'll see above the line, these are all the parties.
Yeah.
And then these are the candidates down there.
So 6 above the line?
Yep, or 12.
But if I put a 1 in box B here, then that...
It's not valid.
It won't be valid? Okay.
Well,
so
because you're not voting for anyone because there's no one there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to see if there's... So, let's see. So looks like we've got the same thing in R, T, and Y.
Yeah, so they would be independents. You see down below, you've got names of people.
Yeah.
So if you wanted to vote for them, you'd vote below the line.
Okay.
So you'd have a minimum of 12 boxes you'd have to number.
So if I vote above the line in these blank boxes, that vote won't be counted?
Yeah, because you're not voting for anyone.
All right, so what do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Disinformation or not disinformation? Now, I have received some legal advice on this. So with full permission from the barrister, I can show you the documentation of the legal advice. I'm going to read it to you right here, folks. So from Raymond Broomhall in Tasmania, thank you very, very much. This is addressed to me. All right, I'm just going to read it verbatim so it can't be taken out of context. Dear Mr. Jonas, regarding Australian Electoral Commission misleading electors on how to vote. I thank you for your instructions. You instruct that on the white Senate ballot paper for the 2022 federal election, a blank box appears under the letter R on the ballot paper above the line. The blank box appears to be where a voter, elector, can mark the box with a number to place their vote. You also instruct that below the line appears 2 blank boxes with the same names, Jonas, Morgan C. and Smith Monica, as a group. You instruct that the officers acting for the Australian Electoral Commission are advising electors to not vote above the line on the ballot paper for the group below. Further, that the said officers are advising electors that the group has withdrawn from the election and not to vote for those candidates. You require advice on the legality of the offences of the Australian Electoral Commission, AEC, in doing so and any remedies that could apply. Okay, now it goes on to say, my advice. Pursuant to section 329 of the Commonwealth Electoral Act 1918, a person, which includes an officer of the Australian Electoral Commission, shall not, during the federal election, print, publish or distribute or cause, permit or authorize to be printed, published or distributed any matter or thing that is likely to mislead or deceive an elector in relation to the casting of a vote. Publish includes published by radio, television, internet or telephone. A person who contravenes section 329 commits an offence with a penalty of 3 years imprisonment, 100 penalty points, and it goes on to say $222 is the value of a penalty unit as prescribed by the Crimes Act 1914 and is currently $222 for offences committed on or after 1st of July 2020. Hence, 100 penalty points is $22,200. Section it goes on to say here, where am I? Section 362.3 of the Commonwealth Electoral Act 1918 provides an election is declared void if the court finds that an illegal practice was indeed committed by a person. The court will need to be satisfied that the result of the election was likely to be affected by the illegal practice and that it is just that the election be declared void. You say you have evidence of the illegal practices of the AEC officers. It could be said that AEC officers across the entire nation are misleading electors on how to vote for non-party independent groups. Your situation is a clear example. Such interference would, of course, affect the result of the election. A case on point regarding section 323. 3 is the High Court's decision in Webster versus Demon. Section 383 of the Act provides that the federal court may grant an injunction to, amongst other things, prohibit a person from engaging in conduct that constitutes a contravention of the law in relation to elections. The AEC and candidates in the election may make an application for an injunction to the federal court. If the AEC is informed or becomes aware that a person may have committed an offence, the AEC determines whether it is appropriate in the circumstances to apply for an injunction. The federal court is able to order injunctions at short notice, even on election day, as I'm a Senate candidate. And if an injunction is granted against the person, failure to comply with the injunction order may constitute contempt of court, for which a federal court order can arrest and detention. Okay, all right. So that's basically where it is from there, ladies and gentlemen. So what do you think at home? Do you think it's an offence? Do you think it's not an offence? I am collaborating with other people who have been affected, and we are plotting our next move as we speak. So there you go, folks. It's plain and clear for everyone to see. AEC should own up to what they've done instead of trying to accuse us of being the ones spreading disinformation. Now, in other news, I have somewhat of an announcement to make, and that is that I've been made aware that there is actually a new organisation that is emerging to safely facilitate our elections, and I've got the grand presentation. Are you ready for it, folks? All right, here it is. I present to you the Australian Disinformation Commission. That's right. From now on, they'll be in charge of our elections, and rest assured, this organisation, there's no clown business, no funny business, and they'll be absolutely counting votes accurately and doing everything to ensure that our democracy is upheld. So, ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the ADC, the Australian Disinformation Commission. Tell your friends, tell your family, this is an exciting chapter in Australian history. All right. Anyway, that's my attempt at humour done, probably for until next week or something like that. But yes, I think we have to be able to have a laugh, guys. But on a serious note, just know that I'm working behind the scenes because what we're dealing with is potentially a very, very serious offence. All right. Now, moving along here, ladies and gentlemen, this is absolutely brilliant. Raise your hands if you've seen any of these videos. Avi Rukshan and also the team from Rebel News have hit Davos in Switzerland to cover the events of the World Economic Forum. That's right, the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, where powerful people from all around the world get together and talk about ways that they can improve life for everyone. And they talk about things such as climate change and rolling out a digital identity and the notion of global governance. That's right. Now, global governance, not a term coined by me. This is central to thought and planning at the World Economic Forum. The idea of global governance and getting all these people in one room to make these sort of harmonized policies that various world leaders and powerful people can take back to their own countries. Now, unfortunately for Rebel News, for reasons that have not been explained, the independent journalists, we're not actually given media passes to any of the official World Economic Forum events. Why do you think that is, ladies and gentlemen? Why would the World Economic Forum not want people like Avi hitting up a press conference to ask questions? Could be the same reason why Daniel Andrews didn't want him in his press conferences. Who here remembers when Avi was so close to getting into a Daniel Andrews press conference, but last minute Victoria Police approached him and mysteriously said that he had to leave? And supposedly the request actually came from Daniel Andrews' office. Hey, that's not coming from me. That's what the police said. Anyways, guys, I've got a compilation here. It goes for about 10 minutes. Avi from Rebel News doing what he does best, approaching certain officials on the streets, and some of the responses that he gets are so laughable. It just makes you, it's very, very telling. So anyway, I'm going to play that for you right now. Enjoy.
I'm an envoy on behalf of WHO.
Avi Mini for Rebel News in Davos, Switzerland at the World Economic Forum. Moments ago, I managed to track down one of the special envoys for the WHO's response to COVID-19. Now, I'm not going to put his full interview yet because
I hope viewers can understand, and I hope this is not cut out, that I've been ambushed in the street. And I'm responding to this gentleman's, I don't even know his name.
Avi Yemeni.
I'm responding to his questions because I believe that it is my duty to attempt to communicate.
I appreciate that. I don't mean to be.
Strange.
We're just running fast, so that's why I get it.
I'm late for a meeting.
All right.
It's just that you are asking questions that I can't answer.
All right. Thank you for your time. I apologize.
I would like to say to those of you who are watching this, I would be very happy to be interviewed normally about this.
Can I get a card?
To be ambushed. I don't have any cards left.
David, where can I catch you to continue this interview?
Let me just write it down.
Sir, I'm going now to send you the email. I'll give you a day to respond and make a time while I'm here. I can even meet you in Geneva at the World Health Organization Assembly. Otherwise, we're publishing the interview I have. Rebecca, how are you doing from the New York Times? Can I ask you a quick question as Avi from Rebel News? How is the public meant to believe that the New York Times is here to actually ask the tough questions when you're here as an invited guest? How are people meant to rely on the mainstream media?
If you wouldn't mind, we're just having if you could give us, thank you.
You don't want to explain to people why we should trust the mainstream media? No? Of course, no comment. There we go. So that's the point here is in Davos you have the mainstream media that are not here to report the truth. They are here as part of the event. Invited guests with their white name tags.
Colombian Army.
Oh, you're the...
Chief House Nariño.
Okay. Is there other chiefs here from other countries or just Colombia?
Colombia.
Just Colombia?
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, thank you.
That makes sense in the World Economic Forum that just Colombia would have the chief military guy here. Would you get China and Russia involved in that?
Well, like I said, it has to be a democratic solution and democratic work, and I don't think these kinds of countries are very democratic right now.
But you say it's a global problem, and China's the biggest emitter.
Yeah.
So how would you tackle climate change without including China?
Well, of course there has to be talks, but I'm sorry, I really have to. We're protesting the WEF today just because we think it's an undemocratic meeting of the world's elites, and these are the people that cause the problems of our time.
But I can't hear any difference in what the right is saying to what you're arguing. What's the difference then?
For example, these kind of people are defending elitist meetings like this one here, and of course then you have far right groups that are also saying the WEF is problematic, but they are saying it for completely different reasons.
What's the reason they're saying it for?
Well, you have to talk with them.
So we have, and they said the exact same reasons you say.
Not really like it if people are putting us together, because we are not agreeing. We are not saying this is a problem that is causing because of some kind of conspiracy. We are not saying the solution is no more global answers to global issues. That's not what we are saying. We are saying we have to tackle these issues globally, but we have to do it democratically.
Okay, so would you support the UN, like another body like the UN, or the UN's not good either?
I think the UN it has at least some good parts about it, and I think we have to work to continue working together on these kind of levels.
So you want a globalist solution to the WEF that is not the elitist, richest people in the world?
Yeah, exactly.
But you still want a globalist solution to it, which is unlike the right.
Yeah, I mean you can't really tackle climate change, for example, or worldwide inequality without talking to each other, without worldwide cooperation. I think that's pretty clear.
Would you get China and Russia involved in that?
Well, like I said, it has to be a democratic solution and democratic work, and I don't think these kinds of countries are very democratic right now.
But you say it's a global problem, and China's the biggest emitter.
Yeah.
So how would you tackle climate change without including China?
Well, of course there has to be talks, but I'm sorry, I really have to continue.
Thank you so much for your time. Thank you. There you have it. It seems that Antifa here in Switzerland protesting the WEF are using the far-right talking points, and when you try to get them to articulate the point of difference, well, I guess it's that they still want a globalist response, but one that excludes the most important participants. I've Yemeni for Rebel News in Davos, Switzerland. Mark, now a good time? How you doing? I miss you from yesterday.
Nice to see you again. Yeah, no,
who's your friend? You don't want to introduce me? How you doing?
Very well, thank you. Yes, that's good. Yeah.
Any bug sandwiches today?
I haven't had anything to eat today.
No.
Thank you. Actually, I haven't had anything to eat today. But if you got any recommendations?
I don't know. I own nothing, so I'm happy.
Okay. Well, that's good.
You're from Microsoft, is that right?
Yeah.
Why is Microsoft wearing like a UN pin?
Happy to.
Rebel News, Avi from Rebel News.
Well, because we do a lot of work on the SDGs. We address things like skilling and climate change, internet access for everyone, and I happen to be an SDG advocate myself, appointed by the UN Secretary General.
And this year,
Get you into your thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one more question. Okay.
One more question is: this year they're saying that this is about regaining trust. Why do you think so much of the world has lost trust in the WEF?
Well, the first thing I would say is we live in a world where I think people question much more everything around them, and questioning can be a challenge, but questioning I think is also an opportunity mostly to provide people with better information, more information, and that's one of the things that the World Economic Forum does.
But that doesn't answer the question why people mistrust, and specifically Bill Gates.
No, but it's
okay. That's all right. There we go. Microsoft, UN, looks like they're one organisation. There you go. We're here at the private airport for the Davos WEF annual conference, and as you can see behind us, thank goodness Australia has a new climate crusading Prime Minister who only sent the delegation on one private jet. G'day rebels, I'm here with the entire team walking back to the car after what I would call a long 3 days of chasing down elites at the World Economic Forum here in Davos. Mate, Lewis, last 3 days, what have you learnt?
Well, I think I've learned a massive positive, okay, and that's this year's narrative or theme is all about regaining trust, which paints the picture that people don't trust them. So I take that as a big positive.
Beautiful. I can't say I disagree. I think I've seen that too. Savs, come on in. Tell the people, 3 long days. What have you taken away?
I think my biggest takeaway, Avi, is that we're essentially living in the globalist ideal world, right? They're far away from the people. They are pushing all of this digital central banking and metaverse on us, but are they taking part in that? Are they a part of that in their every single day lives? On top of that, they have approved press here, which is why, again, go to wefreports.com, because we're some of the only journalists that are actually on the ground confronting these elites, these globalists that are trying to push these bad ideologies on us, these bad policies on us. So, I've just really learned the importance of, 1, independent media, and 2, that if the World Economic Forum had their way, this is what our world would look like. They would be somewhere remote, far away from the people. We would be suffering from their bad policy, and they would be sipping champagne on the streets.
I'm sorry, Sophie, you're going to have to follow that one. What have you learnt in the last 3 days here?
Well, if I had to sum up the last 3 days, it would be hypocrisy, and a bit more hypocrisy. We've had lecturing us on climate change while flying in by private jets and having cars after cars after cars. We've had wanting to implement digital ID and more surveillance while hiding behind their little sheltered area back there. So, the rich get private lives, but the poor don't. There's guards here armed to the teeth, but they don't like gun control. So they've really reflected the annual WF motto, which is rules for thee, but not for me. Another thing is that there's almost no world leaders here, so they must know that we're onto them.
All right, well said there too. Certainly we've learnt a lot here. Jeremy, what about you?
Yeah, I would like to follow up what Lewis said. The theme is working together to regain trust, and what have they done to lose our trust? They locked us in our house for 2 years, they took away our jobs, they mandated dubious medical interventions, and after speaking to them, I learned how ignorant they are of this fact of why trust was lost. Not one time from speaking to all of these attendees that I spoke to did any of those things come up. They're clueless why trust was lost. They don't know. So the clueless of the elites is definitely on display here at the World Economic Forum.
Well, there you have it, and I guess what I learnt most from being here is that the elites consider this a safe space for them, and they are absolutely shocked when independent journalists hit them with the tough questions. Now, all of this is only possible with your support at wefreports.com. Watch the reports, share them all, and help fund our independent journalism here in Davos. wefreports.com.
All right, so wefreports.com. Avi and the team from Rebel News doing a fantastic job covering this story over there from Switzerland. Now, it is pretty funny, isn't it, that the major talking point of the event is winning back the trust of the public. How come the public doesn't trust us anymore? Well, I tell you what, a good way to win back the trust is... It doesn't involve running away from members of the independent press, does it? It doesn't involve talking about global governance and all the things that they discuss, such as the digital ID and harmonized pandemic response protocols and stuff like that. But we're going to be covering that a lot more. So if you'd like to stay up to date with Rebel News and the work they're doing, it's rebelnews.com, and of course you can follow Avi Yamini across all the socials. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, that just about brings us to the end of the show. Once again, we're not going anywhere. We are powering straight through. That's right, no rest no rest after this so-called federal election. I'll call it a so-called election, I think. We are staying strong, ladies and gentlemen, pushing forward. We have a major challenge in November, and I think that we, the people, can get it done. So if you'd like to get on board with this new chapter, this new journey, the sign-up form to Freedom Party is in the description of this video. So get on board and let's make this happen, because for all we know, we may only have one more chance left. All right, folks. I'd like to thank everybody for watching the show this evening. All my regulars, people who have tuned in for the first time, I can see you all there in the chat across Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube. Anyway, that's it from me for now. Signing out, and I'll catch you on the next episode of MCJ Report.
Mm-hmm.